So just for everyone who doesn't know, so who are we? We're Lone Wolf Development, and we develop award-winning tabletop gaming software. Our product Hero Lab actually just won silver at the Ennies last night, so I think that's not the first time it's won either. Realmworks also has won an Ennie in the past. Hero Lab is our our character management for players and GMs. It lets you create characters, level them up. Also has tools for GMs to run combats and things like that for a variety of game systems. We also make Army Builder, which is a tabletop war game roster creation application. So I am Joe. I'm on the Realmworks team. I'm the lead web developer on the Realmworks team. So in addition to that, I also do user interface, user experience, feature and functionality design, along with Rob, who you may have also met or been at his seminar yesterday, which was tips and tricks, I think, if you're doing things out of order. I also do some QA and data structure design for Realmworks as well. So who is Realmworks for? Realmworks is obviously for tabletop role players. So not exclusively. I have had in past years, there's some authors and people like that, screenwriters who see Realmworks as a tool to manage a story in a non-gaming context. So anybody like that here today? No? Okay. That's sort of a niche, but I've had a few people come in and say, I'm not a gamer. Realmworks is for both game masters and players. So regardless of which side of the screen that you're on, you're going to get something out of it. If you're a player, unfortunately, you have to convince your GM to use Realmworks, because if he doesn't, then you're out of luck. We don't have anything just for players at this point. It's sort of, you have to convince at least one other person at the table, the GM, to use it. And within that, we support people who like to build their own custom worlds. And we are, in the near future, going to be supporting people who want to run published adventures. So think of any of your favorite big publishers where you don't want to have to enter all the data into Realmworks, but you want to run the latest adventure path or the latest campaign setting or something like that. And everyone in between. There's a lot of people who like to take published material and sort of make it their own, customize it to some degree or other. Sometimes it's as simple as just tweaking a few names. Sometimes it's almost a complete overhaul, and just sort of taking bits and pieces from different publishers and doing all sorts of different things with it. So Realmworks is part world building tool, part in-play aid, part campaign tracking. It's a content sharing platform, and a number of other things that we'll go through in the demo. It's important to know what Realmworks isn't, though. So Realmworks isn't a virtual tabletop. You guys might be familiar with a couple of those: Fantasy Grounds, D20 Pro, Roll20, that sort of thing. Realmworks isn't one of those, and we're really not aiming it to be. If we're dealing with, what position is your character tactically on the grid, and how many feet from the nearest monster, and am I dazed and stunned? That's more in the virtual tabletop realm, and Realmworks is more on the campaign management and story side of things. Realmworks also isn't a map creator. We like to show off our map functionality because it's pretty cool. We'll get into that in a minute. But Realmworks doesn't allow you to create maps. It's not an art tool. So whatever art tool you want to use to create maps, you can actually import into Realmworks, and we'll sort of step through that in a little bit. It's not a character builder, so we have Hero Lab for that. And it's not a wiki or like a web wiki or anything like that. Although we do have a web application that is in development that I may show you guys a little bit of. It's also not a duck. So why would you want to use Realmworks? Well, you want to use Realmworks if you want to immerse and engage your players more than you have been in the past, perhaps. If you want to build a richer, more engaging world, but the additional complexity of doing that is stressful or just too much weight for your campaign to handle. It's a lot of work. If you want to streamline your session prep in terms of okay, what do we need to run next? What do I need to be prepared for? And also just getting the players up to date on what happened last time, what happened recently, because the players are notoriously bad about that. Like, oh, I forget, we talked to the one guy, I don't remember. Who has notes? Nobody has notes. Great. I'm sure we've all been there.
I reward my players for writing a recap, and it's nice that the best one gets extra reward.
Oh, there you go. That's a good idea. And then another reason to use Realmworks is that it's very easy to get started, but it's very powerful and flexible. So we sort of walk the line between something that's sort of easy to get started on, and I'm going to show you that, but also has lots of depth of customization. So no matter how unique your particular campaign or realm is, we don't restrict you from bringing that to life. And how do we get there? So Realmworks has a technology called Fog of World, and this allows you to reveal information to the players through gameplay, whether that's information about NPCs or a location, a quest, the area on a map, all sorts of different things are revealable through Realmworks. Realmworks is also very visual. We have a feature called the player view, which will allow you to present all the information in your realm to the players. In Realmworks, everything is connected, so you're not leafing through piles of papers or Word documents or something like that looking for the information you need. Everything is hyperlinked, text, maps, everything are all interlinked and very easy to navigate around. Sharing is an important feature in Realmworks, so in addition to visualizing things for your players, there's also a number of ways to share all of those different elements in your realm, which we'll get into. And I mentioned a little bit earlier, customization. Customization is key to Realmworks. You don't have to do any customization if that sort of thing is intimidating, but if that sort of thing is exciting, and it is to some people, there's tons of customization in Realmworks. And just in terms of what's on the horizon for Realmworks, I mentioned published material. We are hard at work on what we call the content market, which is where you'll be able to buy published adventures from various publishers. Talk to your favorite publisher about having their content available in Realmworks. The more they hear from you guys, the more they will be willing to say, okay, Lone Wolf, let's do this thing. We're also, like I said, working on the web application, which is going to allow cross-device access live at the table for all your players and the GM. So let's do this. Okay. So Realmworks, as I mentioned, basically allows you to organize your entire campaign world, whether that's cities, NPCs, quests, storylines, all sorts of things like that, maps. You'll see here we have what we call a topic. This is the village of Sandpoint. This is like any town center you might have in a role-playing game, and all sorts of things are represented by topics, like I mentioned. Topics have what we call snippets, and these are these individually chunked out pieces of information. This is important in Realmworks because Realmworks, as I mentioned, has revealability. So your players don't learn everything about the town right when they walk in the door. They're going to sort of learn it over time as they play the game, and they may never uncover some of these things. So as the GM, you can mark each of these snippets as revealed or concealed based on how you're going through the game. This does a couple of things. As the GM, I immediately know that the players know these things about the town. I can GM in a way such that there's common knowledge between the GM and the player. I don't need to worry about, do they know that? I forget. I don't need to remember it. It's offloaded from my brain. So that's just something that I don't need to worry about. Same thing with do they know the secret about the Duke being a vampire? I don't remember if they learned that. It's kind of a big plot point. This is for sure they either know it or they don't know it. Right now, this is party level, so do the players in general know this? We don't yet have individual player reveal, but that's something that we are looking into. That's something we'd like to do eventually. Topics can have all sorts of additional information attached to them. Just right here, you see what we call a tag, so community size large town. Tags are kind of cool. They allow you to pick from all sorts of things. This is an easy way to sort of get just started fleshing out the basics of an NPC or a place or whatnot. These are fully customizable. I can get into that later. They're also searchable, so you can search for all my large cities, all my adversary NPCs, that sort of thing. We'll get into that in a little bit. You can see that we can also attach maps and things. So here we've got sort of the regional overview of the region of Varissia, which Sandpoint is in. It's right here. Sandpoint also has a local map, so that's the map of the city, and that's right here. That's something you can reveal to the players as well. Now that's just a tiny little thumbnail, so we can click on that and zoom in to see the local map, and we can of course make this a little bigger. Zoom it to whatever size we feel is.
So the players can do this too?
Yes. So let's say I wanted to show this map to the players. One of the features that I mentioned earlier is what we call the player view. So first, I probably want to reveal what areas of the map the players can see. So there's all sorts of different brushes that we can use for this. You can drag a rectangular area. I don't want to do that though. You can paint a little like, oh, they went down this road. Now this is my GM view. This sort of shows both what they've seen and what they haven't seen. But if I want to share this with the players, go to, oh, it's already in player view. Let me make this a little larger, and maybe a little larger yet. There we go. So now, in the player view, you as the GM have control. You're looking at my view as the GM right now, not what players would see. So I can position the windows. I can overlay all sorts of different things. I can have text information. I can have NPC portraits, maps, diagrams, all sorts of things. And then once I'm sort of happy with where things are, I can click this little button, which is to show the player window to the players. Oop, that's a little big. There we go. So now you're looking at the player view, and there's a number of ways you can use this. So let's say all I've got is my laptop. I'm traveling or something. I don't have a second screen. This view, you can now turn your laptop to show the players. That's sort of the very basic, no additional equipment required. Nothing will be seen on the player view that the players shouldn't be able to see. So you'll notice we black out all the areas of the map they haven't seen. Only the map pins that I've revealed to the players are visible to indicate key locations. The text description of Sandpoint, none of the snippets that I haven't revealed yet are shown in the player view, and that's just pervasive throughout all of Realmworks content.
Can they flip to that text view if they wanted to? Right now you've got the front. So can they decide which windows are primary?
So yeah, you can certainly do that. So this is a little tricky because I'm showing a cloned view for the demo. If I were doing this as a GM in a real game, I would be looking at the GM view and you would be looking at the player view. And you can always, I have a second screen here. I don't want to change it so that the recording doesn't screw up, but if you set it up to be an extend rather than a clone, you can display the player view at all times while you're playing the game, so the players will have this view up constantly, whatever you're showing in player view, and you as the GM can continue to just work within Realmworks without having to flip back and forth between player view and GM view and player view and GM view. So it's most convenient when you've got that extra display, and what we've found is that most people have some kind of TV in their living room, 40-inch flat screen, good enough. Bring it to the gaming table and it's going to be awesome. So hopefully that answers your question of how would I show this to the players, what would the players see.
Can they follow the hyperlinks from their view?
So this is on a second display. So imagine a TV at your gaming table that you're showing this on.
Right.
The players don't have control over that. They don't have a mouse where they can click on things. The player view is a GM presentation tool. Now that's not the only way that Realmworks can share content. We also have something called Player Edition. And what Player Edition does is allows your players, this is a license they can purchase. It's $10. You can also get a volume discount for 5 players at, I think it's $30 for 5 players, something like that. So it ends up being pretty cheap. And what that will let them do is you upload your realm to the cloud, and just like you can use the cloud to sync down to multiple devices for you to work on things or switch between them, your players can also access that same realm if you invite them. You have to invite a player to your realm. And what that will let them do is download your realm. Only the revealed information is downloaded, however. So that's another important aspect of revealing information, is if your players use Player Edition, you reveal only the information that they should see, and now they have the full power of the desktop version of Realmworks, where they can browse around, follow links, like you said, navigate through the maps, use the search features, etc. That's more of a disconnected experience, something that they can do sort of in between games. You know, you as the GM, you finish the game, you sync up to the cloud, and now the players can sort of browse your realm at their leisure, prepare for the next game, read up on the backstory of all your NPCs and such. We may at some point introduce a live sync. That's not currently available, however.
You said, okay. So you said earlier that you don't have a way to have revealability per player, but it's
Not yet.
per team. Do you have the ability to, let's say you're running 2 games in the same world,
Got it.
to say these people know this and these people know that?
That's a little bit more of an advanced question.
Okay.
I do want to answer it. So the first hour of this is supposed to be me demoing the product to you guys so that everybody can sort of see what's going on. And then the second half, the whole hour, is QA. So definitely remind me of that, because that's a good question. Okay. And then the web will be the third way to share content with your players, and that would be a more live and interactive experience where the players could indeed, at the table, follow that link on the map and see where it leads and read about what information is available there. So I'll show you, we'll talk about that as well.
What's the pricing model for the web? Are they going to need a license for that too? Or?
That's another good question. There's going to be a free version and a licensed version. We should talk more about that in the Q&A session. Okay, so we've sort of seen a little bit of player view. We've seen a little bit of maps. We've seen how we can, actually I haven't shown you this yet, I guess, not that much. So all the pins on the map, that's something that you can define where you want your particular locations. And each of those has a topic attached to it. So an NPC, a location, a quest, whatever. And you can click on it to go there. Oops, okay. Guess I changed the name of something. Oh, all right. Yes, thank you. That was Realmworks alerting me that I have changed the name of something, and it's automatically updating links for me. So I've navigated through the map, gone to the Sandpoint Cathedral, and now I can do whatever I'm doing there in the game world, whether there's a quest there or just some flavor, some point of interest, whatever is there. And of course that can link further into, who's this? This is a god. This is another god. Who's this Mayor Deverin? And now I can go and visit that NPC. And that NPC has all sorts of new information about their class, how old are they, what's their alignment, and so on. We obviously support pictures in Realmworks, so things like portraits of NPCs. Wherever you want to get your art from is great. Hero Lab comes with a bunch of free. Hero Lab comes with a bunch of NPC character portraits and things, and you can certainly use those or get them online or wherever you want them from. We also support Hero Lab portfolios. So if you have Hero Lab and you want to attach a Hero Lab portfolio for an NPC or a monster or something like that, you can certainly do that. Let me go. This one doesn't have one added, but I can go ahead and do that. So let me find Hero Lab. Got some basic portfolios. Okay. It's an old version portfolio that I'd need to update. I won't do that right now. Okay. Anyway, so Realmworks will allow you to view the portfolio as sort of a stat block summary directly in Realmworks without having to go anywhere else. Yeah, it's not going to let me do that right now. You can also open it directly in Hero Lab, add it to the tactical console, run a combat with it, and then update the character if they gain or lose items, let's say, or gain a level, and then save it back into Realmworks. So let's say I wanted to find something in my realm. RealmWorks has a bunch of search features that let you really quickly find whatever it is you're looking for. I mentioned earlier, like, let's say I want to find all my villains, just to round them all up. The party has done something terrible, and all the villains are going to come and kill them. So we can go to what we call the World Almanac, which is like a sort of a world Bible for your realm, all of the different topics. And there's quite a bit of stuff in here. Basically any good campaign is going to have many dozens of NPCs and many dozens of locations and things like that. And you can organize them in all sorts of different ways. We can get into that in a bit. But you can also search for them if you need to find them. So we'll click the little magnifying glass, and let's say I want to search for something's going on with the god Desna. So I want to find out anybody who's mentioning Desna in any way, who's involved with that. So obviously the god Desna shows up, but then also here's a particular priest who's dedicated to Desna. Here's the cathedral, which probably has like a shrine to Desna, etc. So it's very easy to find what you're looking for with the search feature, because not only does it search the name of the topic, it actually has full text search, kind of like a Google search engine for your realm, where anything in the body of the topic is available for searching. I mentioned my let's find all the villains, so that's pretty easy to do. That's a tag search. So if you've got your NPCs tagged with whether they're adversaries or not, you can go to character role, grab adversary. Hopefully I've got somebody marked as an adversary. I think I do. There we go. So hopefully that's not spoilers for anybody. I think it's just the first chapter, so if it is, it's not a big spoiler. But now I've very quickly and easily been able to find all the villains in my realm. This is the topic list. This is another way to navigate your realm. RealmWorks gives you all sorts of different ways to navigate your realm. We were originally using the map, where you can click and navigate around. You also have what the topic view, and this can be displayed in a hierarchy. So regions are above, the continent is above the region, is above the city, is above the district, is above the merchant shop. That's fully customizable by you. You can organize things in whatever hierarchy makes sense to you for organizing your campaign and finding things that you need. And
Can I insert new hierarchies if I dream them up?
Yes.
Could you repeat that question, please?
Can I insert hierarchies if I dream them up? So essentially, if I say large, medium, large, I want medium, small. Okay. Can I put that in?
Yeah, so the hierarchy is completely up to you.
In one place.
What's that?
The topics can only be in one place.
Right. So that is a key, something of key importance for hierarchy, is that everything can only have one hierarchical parent, so that we can build a complete tree. There are ways to do multiple relationships, which actually I can show you.
I can't break. And what I'm basically asking is, can I break that chain and reattach it someplace else then?
Yes.
Oh, certainly, yeah.
So like if I had this city in this country, in this continent, but then as let's say part of a war, the city is now no longer part of that country, it's part of this country.
Yeah, you can certainly move it. If you've got a campaign where a lot of that sort of stuff is going on, where like cities are changing allegiance all the time, you may, instead of using hierarchy, may want to model it with a relationship of like an allegiance. So why don't I go ahead and show you sort of an example relationship. Relationships can model all sorts of things. So for instance, who lives in what city? People may live in multiple cities, or a wealthy merchant may have villas in all the cities, or someone who the poor beggar may only live in one city, or maybe he roams around and can be found in multiple cities. That's something you wouldn't model with hierarchy. You'd model it with a relationship. So for instance,
was more.
yeah.
I was trying to dream up an example.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly. So this is the mayor, and she obviously lives in, well, I mean, maybe not obviously, but she lives in Sandpoint, the city that she's the mayor of, and she has what's called a residence relationship. And you can actually customize relationships for any type of relationship you can dream up. Like I mentioned, the allegiance of a city in a like civil war. They may switch sides, or maybe they're playing both sides of the field. Who knows? Or maybe they're neutral. So we can actually click on that. That'll link us to Sandpoint. But let's say we wanted to get a better sense of like who all is residents of Sandpoint. So you can actually see here there's a number of residents, and we can actually show the what we call the relationship view, which will generate a diagram based on all those relationships. So we'll click that, and we will say I want to show the residence relationship, and it's going to go ahead and build that up. We'll switch it to this. So now you can see all of these people are residents of Sandpoint. This is a pretty basic relationship diagram. You can also get more complex diagrams that are like family trees of who is the parent of who is the parent of who is the parent of who.
So this might be a stupid question. For these relationships, did you actively create the relationships, or does the software do it for you because you denoted that they're all in Sandpoint?
This is something that you have to create the relationships. Like you have to say, this person lives in Sandpoint. You have to tell Realmworks. So like let's say I wanted to do that. Let's go through a little example of creating a new character and putting them in there. So we will go ahead and you can either click the little plus next to people. That's an easy way to do it. There's also something we like to call Quick Create, Control Q, which brings up sort of a quick power tool. People, an individual, and let's name him Bob, just because. Do I have a Bob already? Oh my goodness, I do. Okay, he's Mike instead. Can you tell that's the go-to? The go-to name? You can have two Bobs if you want. You may want to differentiate them, but you can have two. It's all right. I'm going to go ahead and create and open Bob. Or Mike. Bob already exists. We've got Mike. So let's do a couple things. So right now Mike is just in the top level of the hierarchy under people. Let's say we want to insert him into the Rise of the Runelords cast. This is sort of just the way we've decided to organize the NPCs with these sort of what we like to call cast lists. If that doesn't make sense to you, you don't have to organize your realm this way at all. It's totally up to you. So you can actually, there's a number of ways you can put Mike in the Rise of the Runelords cast. The easiest way now, a recent feature is drag and drop. And by default it's contained by, but you can also create relationships this way. And if you do, I think, control drag and drop, no, maybe it's shift drag and drop. Shift, there it is. It'll just automatically put him in there. Here we go. So now Mike, Glorious Mike, is right alongside Lucretia and Scribbler and a number of other cool people. So now he's underneath that particular topic, and that's the way you'd organize, say, like regions and cities and districts and all those other things as well. Just sort of drag and drop the hierarchy in whatever order makes sense to you. And you can make as many arbitrary intermediate levels as you can. Like let's say I wanted, I want to put Mike in the Rise of the Runelords cast, but he's sort of an extra in the Rise of the Runelords cast. So let's do that. Create a contained topic, and I want it to be, just some other thing. So like ROTR extras. So there we go. And now I can throw Mike under there because he's not that important. And let's throw a couple other people like Scribbler, Skinsaw Man. And now I can collapse that if I want to hide it and I don't want to see those people, or whatever I want to do there. So let's grab Mike again. Let's see what's going on with him. Oh, we're already on him. What am I doing? All right, so we want to make him a resident of Sandpoint. So you can either click the little plus next to relationships over here, or you can use the drag and drop feature like I mentioned earlier. Why don't we go through this way just to do something a little different? So I'm creating a relationship. I want to find Sandpoint. Now I could scroll through here if I wanted to, if I know where Sandpoint is, like it's right here, down here somewhere. There it is. But let's say I didn't want to do that. I couldn't find it. So we can do that too. Sandpoint. Sandpoint's mentioned in a lot of places, but there we go. There it is. We could also filter this to only cities, things like that. So we've got Sandpoint, select that, and now there's all sorts of different relationships we could create. We could say, Mike is affiliated with a certain guild, or he's the supervisor of a certain other NPC, or he owns a business, or all those other things. And these are completely customizable by you. We have some default ones that you can use, like, resident, great, that's a good one. But those are fully customizable. You can enter a little description if it's like, his summer home is here. And I have to spell right. So now you can see that we've got the Sandpoint relationship established, and if I hover over it, I can see it's a residence relationship and my note that his summer home is here.
So I'm assuming you can set up multiple relationships.
Oh yeah. You can set up, if you have a really important NPC and you want to go nuts setting up like who's their guild, who's their boss, who are their minions, where do they live, you could come up with your own custom relationships. Sorry. Your favorite foods if you want to, if that's important to your campaign. The sky is the limit. You can come up with all sorts of different things. Relationships are also revealable, like everything else in Realmworks. So they may have met Mike, but they may not know that he lives in Sandpoint. And depending on the NPC, that may be a crucial bit of information. So you can actually keep that relationship concealed even though they know the NPC. And then once...
Sorry, if you reveal that, will they get to subnote this is his summer home?
Yes, that's
so that
all.
might not be the best place to put notes like that.
Yeah, it may not be.
They know he lives there. They just don't necessarily know when he lives there.
Yes, that may be something for like a separate snippet of when he can be found in certain locations and whatnot. It's sort of that's a convenient place to put things, and most of the time it's fine to put notes like that in there. If it's like the main villain and it's a really important point, you may want it to be a separate snippet. That's true. So part of engineering things in Realmworks is really figuring out at what level of granularity do my players need to learn about these things. You could go nuts and say a separate snippet for every favorite food, but that's a little bit of overkill. You really don't need to do that. You may just want one snippet for all his favorite foods, or maybe not have a snippet for his favorite foods, because that may not be all that important. One thing Realmworks doesn't do is constrain you complexity-wise. If you want to do that, you can do that. We don't stop you. You may not want to, though. You may not want to have favorite foods for all your NPCs. Okay.
Well, it seems like it's pretty easy to add. You never know what players want to do.
you never
might have
know.
A player who's just like trying to figure out, I want to poison Mike, so I'm going to go to this great investigation to figure out
exactly
what his favorite food
The
is.
only person in town
You-
that likes
you're gonna-
almonds.
Right.
Always add that later.
Yeah,
Then
and
you put
that's
that snippet out there for yourself,
yeah.
just in case the poisoning of Mike just doesn't.
Sure.
pull
It's
off.
it's basically however you want to run things, however you want to manage things. Realmworks lets you put as much detail or as little detail on anything as possible. So, for instance, when I created this new NPC Mike, I got all this stuff by default. This sort of assumes that you want to really put a lot of detail into your NPCs. This is sort of a framework for building interesting NPCs, getting you to really think about all sorts of things like their story, like how do they tie into quests, what are people saying about them, rumors, are there any falsehoods about this character, people are spreading lies, what are their attitudes, their philosophies, what do they believe in. You can put all this stuff in if you want to, but you don't have to. So let's say I wanted Mike to just be like, Joe Schmo, and he's just an adult human male commoner, and I don't really want to put all that much other effort into him. I may say like he's a cool dude, and that's it. And now I want to get rid of all this garbage. Now you can go through and delete everything if you want to, but we also have these quick edits that you can do from the topic menu up here, and you can remove empty snippets and sections. There we go. So now Mike is a much more simple NPC. You can add all those back if I'm like, I didn't mean to do that, or Mike, for some reason, the party loves Mike. This happens, where the NPC you never thought they would care about has become their like best buddy, and all right, now I got to flesh all that stuff out. Let's get all that stuff back, and you can click this little guy and synchronize him with the structure, and we'll go ahead and do that. And so now all the stuff I already had for Mike is still there, but now all of the sort of template for Mike has returned. And because Realmworks is customizable, you can completely customize that template if you want to. So we came up with this stuff on our own of, well, we probably want personal life and professional life, and maybe, pick some sort of expertise for them, like, oh, are they a leader or a healer or an engineer or whatever. Those are all customizable.
However, they have recommended if you plan on sharing your content, you be careful on adding new categories, new sections in the categories if you're going to share it.
Yes.
They want you to follow a standard in sharing content, so it interfaces with other people's shared content.
Yeah. That's sort of up to you based on how well you want. If you want to share an NPC, you can customize the structure of your NPC, but people may be annoyed that, well, your NPC is structured differently than all my other ones, and it's harder to use because of that. So you can do that, but it's not. We don't consider it a best practice if you're trying to prepare your content for sharing with others. But if it's all just your stuff, you do what you want. The sky's the limit. You can wipe this template completely away, come up with your own, whatever makes sense for you. And it's actually a customizable template for every template for what we call categories. So like the individual, which is useful for NPCs, that's a category. And we have about 70 built-in categories for everything from NPCs to celestial regions in space to dimensional regions for like plane structure in your cosmology. But if you come up with even more categories, you can create your own. Those are customizable as well. We can get into a little bit of that a little bit later. So that's just the very basics of a character. Let's say we wanted to tie him in a little bit more with the world, though. He's not just a cool dude. He is friends with the Skin Saw Man, and we wanted to link him up. So on a wiki, the way you'd do this is you'd type that all out, and then you'd manually set up a link, right? Some people have tried to maintain a wiki for a campaign, and most of you have probably realized that becomes very difficult to maintain over time. You forget to link things, you change somebody's name or change a link a little bit and now it's broken. It's just a hassle. You can do it if you're really dedicated, but RealmWorks really makes it a lot easier. So he's a cool dude. Maybe that's a separate snippet. Pro tip, Control-Enter gets you a new snippet. And we're going to say he is friends with the Skin Saw Man. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. And RealmWorks is going to say, ooh, I know that guy. He's an NPC. You want me to link him up? And we can go ahead and do that. And if you've got, say, 20 links, you can just say, create them all. Do it. You can also go through and say, this one, but not that one. So it's very easy to link everything up. And now from our new guy, Mike, I can click there and see that he's friends with the Skin Saw Man, who doesn't have much data entered yet because I don't think he's really a Chapter 1 guy.
So if I create a relationship, let's say it's friends with the mayor, would that relationship appear on the mayor also?
Why don't I go through that? So this is one way, because RealmWorks is however you want to do it. I can just type a snippet that says he's friends with the Skin Saw Man. But a better way to do that may be a relationship. So let's actually we'll leave that there just for now. We can leave it. That's fine. We're going to create a new relationship where we're gonna create what we call an attitude. So Skin Saw Man. Oh, we still got our search up. We don't want that. And we'll close all those. And now we've got just Rise of the Rune Lords cast, and we've got Skin Saw Man. So we're going to create a relationship to him. And we've got two different attitude types, public and private. So let's make a public attitude because they're open about being friends. And you can say, so Mike is friendly with Skin Saw Man. Cool. And you can put whatever description you want to in there. So now you can see that he's got a public attitude towards Skin Saw Man. Now, attitudes are actually one way, because Skin Saw Man may not feel the same way about Mike. He may hate Mike. Or maybe he publicly is friends with Mike, but privately hates him. You can model that as well. So let's go over to Skin Saw Man. And so you'll see that he doesn't have any relationships set up, because attitudes are one way. Most of the other relationships are two way. So like if you see Mike is a resident of Sandpoint, if you go to Sandpoint, you'll see Sandpoint has Mike as a resident. You'll see it bidirectionally. So let's set up the reverse relationship and say Mike he is, so-so. He's, whatever, publicly. But in private, not so much. Super hostile. Big red angry face. And while we're at it, just so that I can show this, I'm going to say that Skinsaw Man is also a resident of Sandpoint. Okay. So now we're looking at Skinsaw Man. We know that publicly he's neutral, privately he's hostile. He's also a resident of Sandpoint. Let's show that residence relationship again for Sandpoint. And one of the things we can do with the so now we got Mike and Skinsaw Man over here. Oh, did I create it the wrong direction? I might have. That's okay. Did I? Oh well. Let's say we want to show the overlay of those feelings towards each other. So I can choose public attitude and see that. I'm just going to rebuild this. There we go. So we can see Mike like Skinsaw Man. Skinsaw Man's like, eh. So you can overlay all sorts of different relationships onto other relationship diagrams, and for the attitudes, you can actually see the little faces of how they feel about each other. And I believe for a concealed relationship, it's a dotted line, and we can reveal that, and that'll reflect in the diagram as well. So hopefully that answers the questions over here. Just so that I don't miss any features in Realmworks, I'm going to breeze through a few more. So we've got, in the storyboards, we've got what we call plots. And plots are a way to sort of visually graph out your story. Some people approach world building and adventure writing very differently. Some may want to use maps and primarily like a location or site-based adventure. Some people may want to use different branching plot lines, maybe a mixture of both. And Realmworks supports all of those things. So this is a plot diagram of the NPC or the PCs complete the desecrated vault, and then they sort of are hanging out in town, and they've got a number of different options open to them. They may go do any of those encounters, and then they can move on in the story from there. So you can reveal these plot points just by clicking the little reveal orb. That indicates to you as the GM that they've completed that, or that they've at least been made aware of that plot thread that they could follow. You can also attach topics to plot points. Any sort of topic, an NPC, a location, that's all fine. We tend to attach what we call scenes, which are like encounters, or maybe they're combat encounters, or maybe they're just sort of a cresting over the hills, vista kind of scene, and okay, it's just narrative, and now we're done. So you can click into the plot diagram and go and check out that particular scene. That may be an encounter with its own map, its own Hero Lab portfolio, some artwork, indications to you as the GM to how to run that encounter. Little notes like, oh, the DC 13 perception check will tell you that the goblin footprints are yada yada.
I have a question.
Sure.
So, Realmworks is a license-based, and Hero Lab is a site-based, right? You can only put it on 2 computers.
Right.
So if you have it Realmworks on 3 computers and you only have Hero Lab on 2, that 3rd computer you can't do any links to Hero Lab. Is that a true statement?
You wouldn't be able to open them in Hero Lab, that's true. Unless you purchased more secondary licenses for Hero Lab. Yeah. Someday that may change, but it would probably be a lot of work. A lot of Hero Lab assumes that that it's got that licensing structure. So that may change someday, but that's the way it is right now.
You can input the characters as a block, a data block.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah, actually, I may be able to show... Nope, it's another unupdated portfolio. Sorry about that. I should have updated all these portfolios before I came in here. I can do that really quickly, maybe at some point, just to show you it working, but I didn't want to do it on the main part of the demo. Okay, so let me quickly jump back to plots. You can also navigate your realm with plots. So we're sort of looking at a list of plots here, and clicking through here and going to it, but maybe I want to just sort of navigate my realm with the plot instead of the map or the list of topics. So now I can click on any of these nodes. The plot stays open. I can run that encounter. Players go to the next encounter. I can click on that, run that encounter. Players are done with that one. We just go to the next one. So you can navigate your realm in multiple different ways based on whatever you're doing at the time, whatever makes most sense to you. Realmworks doesn't lock you into one way of navigating. There's many different ways to do it. So that's plots. You've also got notes. Notes are just really basic. They're private to you. If players get Player Edition, they also have their own sort of private notes section, and it's just basic notes. Cool thing is that the notes are also interlinked. So if you want to make notes about cool things to do with this NPC later, maybe, or the players have ideas about maybe this guy is the killer or something like that. The notes will actually interlink with the content of the realm as well.
Specifically private notes, but when you look at like the character Mike, we can put notes on there that could be revealed to the players.
Yeah, and that would just be a snippet on Mike. Basically anything that is information you may want to reveal to the players someday, that's a snippet, or at least if it's text based. There may be other map pins or plot points or all sorts of things like that.
But it would be easy to use copy and paste off of your notes to create a snippet.
Sure.
Once you
Yeah.
say, oh wait, I want them to know that, so I'm going to create a snippet real quick.
Exactly. If you want to use notes as like a staging area for some of your ideas, and then during play you're like, oh yeah, I want to use that right now, you can copy and paste it in. Realmworks will detect all the links, and you'll be able to go from there. Let me breeze through just a couple more things before we go to full Q&A. So all this revealing stuff we've been talking about, there's been a lot of reasons to do revealing in terms of sharing with your players and them browsing the realm in Player Edition. I mentioned the web briefly. There's also the reveal history. So one of the great challenges for every GM is what happened last time, and lots of times people don't take notes, or it's been a while. I know my group only gets to game once a month. Kind of sucks, and we usually forget things. So one of the great things that you can do as a GM is, what was revealed recently, or in the past few months. So today I revealed these things. A couple days ago I revealed these things. And actually we have game session functionality, which I'm going to show you right now. Let's say we start a game session, everybody, you and me. So we'll call it Gen Con 2015. Begin new game session. Yes, I do want to start one. So what this does is this is now recording in the background what are all the things that we reveal during this game session. So let's say you guys learned a little bit more about Sandpoint. So we're going to go through and reveal some of that information. You can see it showing up here in the reveal history. And that's it. Really short game session. You learned a couple things about Sandpoint. We're going to go and stop the game session. You can put notes on there if you want to. I'm not going to. And so now what that lets me do is next time we play, I can say, all right, start of the last game session to now. What is everything that we've learned? And it filters the list to just the things that have been revealed since the beginning of that last game session. And you can also do date filters and things like that too as well. And that will actually bring you to that topic. So let's say beginning of time, we've got Sandpoint, but we've also got what was revealed in this plot, what was revealed in this this encounter, what was revealed on this this city.
It takes you to the topic. How do you know which individual item was
So that's actually a very good question. It's really hard to see right now. We do put the cursor in the snippet. That's terrible, and we need to fix it. We're going to highlight it. It's just going to be, it's going to highlight when you click on it. Oh, here is the snippet that was revealed. That's going to be easy for us to do. We just haven't gotten around to it yet. But the capability is there. We're already doing something. It's just not visible enough right now. Let's see what else. Player view, game sessions. There's a player mode as well. This is a one-click button to see if my players look at my realm in player view in Player Edition, what will they see? So you can click that, and you're now in Player Edition mode, more or less. You can see there's many fewer topics because only some of the topics have been revealed. this particular city. There's only 2 snippets revealed about, so it's just a way to quickly check and see what would the players see if they saw this realm.
Do you have a way to keep track of condition?
What kind of condition?
Like we'll pick on Mike again.
Sure, we'll pick on Mike.
Because he's got relationships and whatnot, let's say the players did figure out that he likes squash, they did poison him, now
Now he's dead.
he's dead. That
Actually,
didn't mean that he wasn't a resident, or it didn't mean he didn't have those relationships, but Mike's dead.
yes. So that was actually a suggestion from, I think, last Gen Con maybe, and we've got that now. So now this is something that you could have done on your own, even though we didn't have it last year. You could create your own condition, what we call a tag domain, and then create your own condition tags and then apply them to your NPCs. But now we've got it built in automatically, so you don't have to do it. So you'll see Mike actually has a condition snippet, and I can pick from that and say, oh, he's dead or dying, or maybe he's undead, he's a zombie now because the poison is zombification poison. Or maybe you want to come up with your own conditions and say, well, maybe he's captured by the enemy because we're doing the Civil War scenario or whatever. Actually, why don't I go? I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to add my own tag in here. So we're going to go ahead and do captured by orcs. Add and close. So now captured by orcs is available, and Mike's condition is captured by orcs, and maybe he's captured by orcs and injured. So you can do multi tags as well. So that was just a. And that's showing the automatic summary, which we probably don't want to do. You see captured B, it's shortening it a little bit. We could go in and customize that stuff in the manage tags area. So we'll go find character condition. Here's captured by orcs. We can name that abbreviation cat orc or something, or captured is fine. We could probably use just that. So that was a quick way to add a tag, but this is the full, edit everything about the tags. Edit the name, change
Well, there might be some value there too, because if you're going to add a tag, captured by orcs, you might want to say specific tribe, and then can you do links from there?
Sure. So let's say I did want to have, so we got captured and injured, and I wanted to say, here's the tribe, here's the, I don't have an orc tribe in here, so we're going to say he was instead captured by cultists of Desna. By cultists of Desna. So this is what we call an annotation. Snippets that aren't already text snippets, so tags, pictures, maps, portfolios, things like that, they can all get an annotation. And annotations allow for linking. So captured and injured by cultists of Desna. I save that. It's going to say Desna. We know who that is. Good to go. So now we've got captured and injured by cultists of Desna. So you can make that as...
and now I'm assuming if I did a search for relationships to Desna, Mike would show up, and if I clicked on Mike, I go, oh, he was captured by your cultists of Desna.
Yeah, so that wouldn't be a relationship. That's text that you'd search for. If you wanted, you could create a relationship for if you've got some sort of scenario with
I was meaning like your world almanac.
Oh, yes.
Mike's name would suddenly show up.
Yeah, that should actually work.
Mike's
Yeah.
Mike connected to
Desna. That
yeah,
should actually work.
captured
There's
by-
Mike.
Yeah.
There he is. So there you go. Whew, it worked. I was like, oh, do we include the annotations in that search? I think we do, but I'm not sure. But we do. Great. So there you go. That's that. Let me briefly run you through a few more things. You've probably seen me hitting maybe the back button and whatnot. Realmworks has back and forward buttons, just like a browser you may be used to. We've got history, so you can go back, multiple steps in that history to, a while ago I was at Sandpoint. Let's go back there. There you go. There's a table of contents that allows you to quickly jump between sections. You just click that. Really easy. We also have a new feature called Views. Some of you who may have been with Realmworks for a while may remember there used to only be the Story Almanac and the World Almanac. So as of right now, the way it works, I'm not going to go into the old one. The World Almanac is every topic in your realm. It's like your library, so to speak. So everything that is a topic is in the World Almanac. The Story Almanac is a default view that we've created for you. If you don't want to use it, you can get rid of it, you can delete it. It's just sort of like a suggestion. And this is because you've got so many things in the view, or in the World Almanac. Maybe you want to cut things down a little bit. I think the Story Almanac, I accidentally already put everything in it. I think there's a way to clear it though. Remove all topics. Great. All right, so now my Story Almanac is pristine and clean, and we're just dealing with Sandpoint today. So I'm just going to add Sandpoint to the Story Almanac, all the contained topics, and now when I look at it, it's just Sandpoint. And I could say, you know, maybe I don't want, maybe I didn't want to do that. Maybe I want to take them out of the Story Almanac, start again, and just do just the Village of Sandpoint, no contained topics, and then I will add the Catacombs of Wrath and all its contained topics. So now I've got just Sandpoint, the Catacombs of Wrath, and all of the scenes in the various rooms in that particular area. And then when I'm done, maybe with that, maybe we do a couple sessions over the course of a week, I can change out what's in my Story Almanac. Story Almanac is just a view, so you can create as many of those as you want. I've got another test view that's just got other topics in it. You can create multiple different views. You can assign them, you know, whichever icon will help you remember. Oh, the blue triangle one. That's the one where I'm keeping whatever you're organizing in there. That's just another way to organize your realm, because we found that the number of topics in a realm is generally a lot, and there's a lot of different ways to manage that. Let's see. I didn't touch on it very much, but mechanics reference is the place for rules information to go. So items, monsters, feats, skills, anything that you want to link into to, like, oh, what are the grapple rules again? You've got like an NPC who's got a great grapple score and you want to use that, but you always forget the grapple rules. You can link to the grapple rules from there. All right, well, we're about past the demo time, and I can open it up to a larger QA. There's a ton of stuff I didn't show you guys, but we can, if you've got specific questions, I can dive into the details on that, so to speak. So let me get you in a minute. You had the very first question. I don't remember what it was.
It was about separating views by party.
Ah, okay. So, and the response to that was, we don't have it yet, but...
Well, you said you don't have it by individual people, but
yes.
If you have
two
separate parties in the same campaign, how do you show...
How do you run... The main question is, how do you run multiple parties through the same campaign world?
Without revealing everything that both parties are doing.
So, right now in Realmworks, there isn't a great way to do that. That's because we're working on the content market. The content market has a lot of sort of under the hood functionality that's going to allow you to basically create like a base realm, like sort of your, I don't know what you'd call it, like your prototype realm that has, this is my realm, it's got all my stuff in it, the way I want, and now I want to run 3 groups through it. The way you would handle that would be to create a package from your realm, sort of a private package, if you will. And then what that lets you do is create a copy of that realm and instance it multiple times. So each party that wants to run through, Joe's realm, I'm going to create a package of my sort of model realm, if you will, and then create multiple instances of that realm. So it'll copy all the content, but all of the revealability and any changes that I make to it are unique to each party. So that's how that would be handled, and that'll be available along with the content market in the future.
So any updates on one will copy to the others?
The way it would work would be if you, let's say you wanted to make changes to the base realm, sort of like your own errata, your own patches, those would propagate to all the instanced realms. If you, like, let's say you type in, party A burned down the tavern. Well, that's only in their realm. In party B's realm, the tavern is still standing. You would make the changes in that party's realm rather than your base realm. So it gets a little complicated if you want to do that level of complexity, but it's manageable.
That's coming.
Yes, yes, that functionality is coming, not available yet though.
Okay.
Okay, and then I
Actually,
have a question over
another
here.
question is something. Is there any way to do mass reveal of stuff? Like, for instance, mechanics reference. I've entered a whole bunch of stuff in mechanics. I don't mind if the players see all. In fact, I'd love them to be able to look it up if they needed to.
There is a way to do some mass reveal. It's not as mass as you probably want. So like, let's say I've got, you know, this topic. Well, that doesn't have that much in it. Is there something with a ton of? Okay, here we go. Instead of like going through and clicking everything, I can say reveal all snippets, and that's under the topic menu.
So there's no way to do it, you know, for many topics at once at this time.
There isn't at this time, and that's actually a common scenario of wanting mechanics reference to be always visible. So we're probably going to change the default value of mechanics reference to be revealed by default, and you conceal things if you don't want them revealed, or maybe allow you to set which one. We may come out with a, like, you know, reveal everything in this of this category or something like that, but we don't have anything right now. As far as I know, let me look. Maybe we do. I don't want to steer you wrong. I know we've got some stuff like, let's see. There's move all. There's not a reveal all. So no, we don't have that yet. But we know that's a problem and are looking into ways to solve it. I think there was one back there.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so I see that there's a base price for the software, and then there is a subscription for the cloud content.
Mm-hmm.
Does this software work without the cloud content?
Sure. So why don't I talk about that a little bit, since that's an important part of RealmWorks as well. When you purchase RealmWorks, you are purchasing a RealmWorks account. So just keep that in mind, because I'll probably reference that a number of times in the future. You also get to download the RealmWorks software, and the RealmWorks software can create, you know, whatever realms you want. One catch is that the initial creation of a realm, you have to be logged in to tell our server, I'm creating a realm. And the reason for that is that even if you want to just use your realm offline, you don't really want to use the cloud stuff, you may change your mind someday, and the only way we can handle that technically is if you told us about it when you created it. So you can create a realm, you have to be connected for that, but after that you can stay offline forever. And never upload your realm to the cloud, just use it locally. You know, Lone Wolf could explode and our servers could be gone, and you'd still be able to run your realm. You wouldn't be, hopefully one of us would still be alive if the meteor hit to patch that out and say, okay, we're going to allow realm creation without connecting to the server. So yeah, there's that. But we aren't going to die. Hopefully a meteor doesn't hit the Bay Area. That would be rough.
At least not until we get custom calendars.
Oh, okay, yes, custom calendars. Let me dive into a little bit more of the cloud stuff, since there's a lot of stuff around this. So you do need to be logged in to create a realm, but just for the initial creation. Basically just tell us its name, and then you're done. You can go offline and build your whole realm completely offline and never connect again. If you want to put your realm up in the cloud, you have to have a cloud subscription. Right now, I think everybody has like 6 months free cloud services included or something like that. Now there's only one tier of cloud service right now, so there isn't like silver, bronze, and gold tier or something. We may come out with that at some point. For like, I want to store 40 realms because I do this for a living, versus somebody who's like, I just want one realm just because we game sometimes. We may do tiering at some point, but right now it's all just that's the pricing level for everybody. Does that answer your question about
absolutely.
cloud?
And, second part to that, is there a special price for the software at Gen Con or any promo kind of?
There is. There's a bundle with SirenScape. Oh crap! I didn't show you guys that. I want to show you that.
That's so awesome.
Okay.
It's not released yet though.
Can I make you a quick question before that?
So let me answer the pricing question, or the bundle question, because that'll go quick. I'll answer yours, and then I want to show you SirenScape integration, because it's cool, and I forgot about it, and I want to show it. So bundles, there's the bundle with SirenScape, and I think it's RealmWorks plus SirenScape at $65 or $60, something like that. It ends up saving you about 15% over buying them separately, which is cool. Also, if you don't want to do that, we've also got if you buy RealmWorks GM Edition, you get a free Player Edition license, and that's a $10 value. So stop by our booth, grab that, and we'll hook you up. Okay, that question's answered. I'll get to SirenScape in a minute. And you had a question here in the second row.
Yeah. Can I put links to other material like web links?
Yeah. So that actually is a great segue into to SirenScape, because SirenScape is also a link. So let's say I wanted to link to like PFSRD or something.
Yeah.
So you can do that. You can say hyperlink, say my reference to PFSRD. And I don't know what the URL actually is, and I don't have internet, so I can't actually use it. So www.pfsrd.com, let's say. I don't remember what it is. So there you go. So you can put links in there to like images that are hosted on your own server or something. And like I said, I don't have internet right now, so if I click it, it's just going to launch a browser that's not going to work. So I won't do that. But yeah, you can do links to external content as well. I'll go ahead and delete that. And then let me start up SirenScape. I think I've got it on here. I hope I do. Yeah, let's do it. All right, so for those of you who don't know, we are not SirenScape. SirenScape is someone else, but we like them. So we're partners at Gen Con this year. Oh no! Oh no! I forgot we had to do this. Oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to show you.
Yeah, a lot of your stuff is web-based. If you don't have web access.
Yeah, we had to.
No, once you download it though, you're okay.
Yeah.
You pay for that.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. That was your subscription.
You know what? This is so cool. I'm gonna connect to my.
You don't have to download just one small thing.
I can give you. I'm
Yeah.
staying at this hotel. I can give you access.
Oh no, I've got I can tether just really quickly, and that should work. Are there any questions I can answer in the meantime while I'm screwing around with this? Because it's so cool. You got to see it.
Can you share the content between multiple GMs?
Oh, like having multiple GMs GM a realm together?
Yes.
Right now, no. That's something that's definitely on our list of things to do, is multiple GM, like switching off, or co-GMs, that sort of thing. Something we definitely want to do, but it isn't currently available.
On the contact market, if the original source is updated and there's new entries and stuff like that, can you synchronize and pull the new entries down into your edition?
Yes.
Or is
So
it now?
no. So the way it's going to work is similar to how I mentioned. If you wanted to do it for yourself, there's going to be sort of like a base realm that you don't actually run out of. It's just sort of like, this is the adventure, this is the realm. Any changes you make to that will propagate to any new realms you instance to actually run the game. And the same would be for published content. The publishers are going to have a sort of like alpha realm, if you will, that doesn't get run. Nobody runs a game through it. It's just the content at the beginning before it's been touched, pristine. And if they make updates to that, like errata, or they add new things to it, or they remove things from it, your is this the right one? Should be. Your realm can get the updates. I'm not sure how we're going to do that yet. Like if it's going to be,
Especially if there's a deletion on something
yeah,
you
like
messed around with
it'll probably
sync
be
issue.
like a do you want to download this update, and then we're going to have to figure out a way to like
conflictions and
yeah.
conflictions.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do with that yet. We may do, we'll probably do something like your local changes win, maybe? I'm not sure. We'll have to find out. So SirenScape is a sound app, not made by us, but made by some of our good friends. And we now, RealmWorks now integrates with SirenScape. SirenScape is, I like to think of it as like a DJ for your role-playing game. So mood music, sound effects, swords clanking, fireball spells, orcs shrieking, that kind of thing. And let's see if we can, no, not now. Not now. Great. Okay, so let's say we've got the fireball spell. There's this new
Hotkey for us to do that?
that was plus. There's also, I think, if you go to settings and enable third-party app integration mode, and this just lets you copy a link And let's say in Sandpoint there's going to be a wizard casting fireballs for some reason. I don't know why. There just is. You paste that link in. It's going to be an ugly looking thing for right now. We're going to fix that in a moment. The latest version of RealmWorks should automatically detect that as a SirenScape link. So if I click that, do I have sound on? Oh, wow, that was so delayed. Let's try it again. Okay, so that was, I don't know why that first one was so delayed, but there you go. So clicking the link makes the sounds play in SirenScape, and you can also grab their themes, like Battle Begins. Let's grab Battle Begins, and we'll do that. Click on that guy, and then the drums start and the music and all that stuff. And I won't go into how their app works. You can do all sorts of mixing, like the background, the battle music should be softer. There should be more growling. There should be less less of this and that. And then you can there you go. So it's sort of lets you set the mood for whatever encounter you're running, and you can link all sorts of different things into your monsters or encounters and whatnot in RealmWorks. Now let's say this is kind of hard to keep track of, so let's just clean those up a little bit. So we got you can edit the hyperlinks and say we're going to call this one Fireball, and we're going to call this one Battle Begins. There you go. So now clicking the Fireball or Battle Begin links will invoke those in SirenScape without you having to switch back and forth. And Ben from SirenScape, who's actually like the main dude, I don't know what his official title is, but he's the head honcho over there. He really loves it because if you've got a lot of sounds, you'll have to like sort of scroll through to find them. Where is it? But if you're using RealmWorks, you've got it already attached in context to where you're going to use it. Goblin battle, got all my goblin sounds in there. The dragon battle, got the breath weapon sounds in there, or what have you. So you could put it right next to the dragon stat block, right next to the the rules about how to do the breath weapon, so you remember to use it. So it's a very neat new addition.
So is that this release, or is it the next? Is it already released, or is it this coming out the next release?
I believe that's already out. The one part that may not be out is automatically recognizing the SirenScape link. But so if you go and copy the link, it's that ugly URL looking thing. Yeah. The only thing, and it would just paste in and it looked like black text and you can't click it. The only thing you'd need to do is right click and say hyperlink, paste it into address, and then set the text to be like my sound.
The biggest thing preventing me from using this in some of my games is the fact that it's so hard to find everything in SirenScape.
Ah, okay. Well, this is a great way to do that. You just put stuff where you think you're going to need it. You can even make a topic, if you want to, that's just like my soundboard for, like maybe like battle soundboard and like town soundboard. You could do whatever. It's up to you how you want to organize that.
Will those links also work for local files? If I don't want to link to a specific SirenScape or something, I want it to run to an OGG file, or I want it to run to an MP3.
Sure. So there's a couple ways to do that. RealmWorks actually lets you attach media, so audio and video files. You can attach it directly, and that way it goes along with your database. So if you sync it up and then sync it down on another device, you still have that audio. You don't have to like separately manage that. I think if you want to, you can do file links somehow, but I'm not sure. So that's the way you'd handle it, is directly attach the file. You could probably ask on our forums if you're like, oh, I don't want to use up too much space on the cloud. I don't think we have any limits right now. Basically, right now, most people aren't using up too much space, and if there's somebody who's using a ton of space, we're like, hey, can you like stop doing that for a little bit? There may be limits eventually, but I don't think there's any official limits at this point.
Do
Question over there?
you have
No macros, so there's no like scripting language or anything associated with RealmWorks. In terms of API, the desktop is pretty closed. There isn't really any sort of like public API that's meant to be used. We are building the web app, which actually I'm going to just show a little bit of here. I got to start it up. The web app is running completely on top of a REST API. Whether or not that will be public, I don't know yet. I know we eventually want to. We're considering opening parts of that up so that you can write your own programs and interface with the API, the same API that our web application is going to use. And that would talk to the server and allow you to read data or write data depending on what we decide will be publicly available. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, I was just thinking along terms of, I want certain information auto-generated or
Right. That would probably best be accomplished when we get some sort of public API after the web app. The web app is running on a REST API, so it would probably be something similar. Or the same, and just some of it publicly accessible. I think there was a question back there, and then I'll get to you.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could actually link a combination of sounds from SirenScape.
So that's what I did with the Battle Begins. So I'm not a SirenScape expert, but basically SirenScape lets you make like mixes of different sounds. So like the Battle Begins wasn't just a recorded track. It's actually a mix of the battle music, the growling, the axe and shield clanking, all that stuff, and you can set, wind blowing. You set the volume levels of all those things and how prevalent they should be, yeah. So,
That may help.
sure.
SirenScape, you got two types of sounds. You got tracks, and you can only have one track playing at a time. So if you start another track, it will fade out the old track, fade in the new track. The stuff on the right, they're actual sounds that can be playing while tracks are playing.
Okay.
And those are the ones that you can have them play, and hit a whole bunch of them and have them all going. But the soundtrack, you can't have more than one going at a time.
And
They
that
do
makes-
have a way though that you can make new tracks based on other sounds.
It's still going.
You just you hit that plus sign right there at the bottom, and
Yeah.
you change it. You make your own track.
Yeah, they're also talking about coming out with a tool that let you mix all the sounds that you have to make your own track from multiple different categories like Witchwood and Bugbear.
Yeah, I thought if you hit the plus sign, then you can just add.
I believe it's plus sign is add one, but you can only manipulate all the sounds in the current
In
Bugbear
the
file.
current sound set,
It
yeah.
requires another
I
tool.
thought edited if you told them. We're not here for that. It's
Yeah.
just saying.
So there's definitely ways to do it, and RealmWorks will let you create the link for whatever mixes SirenScape makes available. So that would be something to ask them about in more detail, probably.
The answer is yes for that.
I think there was a question here, and then I'll grab you again.
Is there any more word as to whether or not you guys are going to do a Mac port?
So the initially we wanted to do a Mac port of the desktop version of RealmWorks, and we ran into some technical troubles with that, and it doesn't look like they're going to be surmountable. So what we're going to do instead is I mentioned the web version. The web version is what we're looking at for cross-platform for RealmWorks, and that's going to run on Mac desktops, iOS touch devices, Android touch devices, Windows desktop if you prefer to use the web interface. And actually, that may be ready to go here. Gonna fire that up if I can. That's basically our cross-platform solution. So I'm gonna go ahead and show that here in a minute, and I can answer more questions. He was before you.
I have a quick question, which is, you said that you can make all of those tags and actions and all that stuff. You can either have them or not. Can you make them required? And I impose limitations on myself.
I don't think there's a way to make them required per se, because so what would that look like? Because right now you can create a blank NPC who has nothing filled out. What would it look like if there was a field that you were supposed to fill in that you didn't fill in? Prevent you from saving it, or
Is the race required?
No.
Because it defaults to human.
It defaults, but you can
You can remove that?
you can clear it. Although you know what, it may not It may not allow you to clear it. That might be what you're thinking about. So let me go and grab an NPC here. Let's go to Mike. It's good old Mike. So like, let's say, so he started as human. I don't think, I could say none. Yeah, so that would let me blank it out. So there's ways to default races or tags and things like that so that it has something. I don't think there's a way, let's go to race. I don't think there's a way to, oh no, that wouldn't be here. That would be in,
I just feel, from everything I've used so far, you have so much control over it. It's like you're at the admin level. How do you impose rules at that,
Right. So the way to do it would be you set a default tag and you restrict domain and you set the default domain, and that's going to get you really close to where the only way something will not have a race is if you deliberately removed its race, but then everything would just start off as human and you'd need to choose something else, or maybe you'd end up with a bunch of humans accidentally. So there isn't technically a way to enforce that everything must always have a race currently. I'm not sure what that would look like.
But you could
though.
search for everything that doesn't have tag. Couldn't you? Just everything that's none or no tag?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm not sure if it's how would I do that? I guess you could do, let's go find our, do
Mike's a none now.
Yeah, Mike's a none now. So let's go to race. Now there's a bunch of races and there's not a great way to add them all, but it would be, he basically, it's not any of all the races, which is kind of prohibitive, but this is sort of an odd. So Mike has got to be not any of these races. There he is. Oh, and actually there's a couple others. Oh, all the gods, they're not any race apparently.
That makes sense.
Oh, and you know what? It's only right now. It's looking at every topic, and I really only care about people. Obviously, encounters and whatnot are not of interest to me. I don't think we currently have a way to filter out specific categories. That's something we probably want to add, but there you go. Mike plus all of the gods don't have a race. So hopefully that answers that question. So I was briefly mentioning the web version. So here you see it running on Chrome on Windows, but any modern browser, so up-to-date versions of Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox. What's that?
No, IE, kill it.
Well, I'd love to. Unfortunately, there are still some of our users who use IE, believe it or not. Also, you can come and check it out working on the iPad, or even, my little Android phone here, or my Android tablet in the booth, if you want to come and check that out. This is development preview, obviously. You can see here, development preview. So it's not out yet, but it's something we're definitely working really hard on to bring all the same functionality. So, navigating around, we've got things like maps and smart images where, you can, here's a navigable pin to, a region, the blood salt region in this particular town, revealing and concealing areas. So, and you can do this on touch devices as well. It's pretty fun to finger paint on the iPad. We don't have all the functionality built in yet, obviously, so just sort of showing you some of what we're capable of. Search, so, searching from your tablet or phone, obviously very cool. The web is going to be a real-time solution, so this will be a bring your own device scenario for players. The players want to bring their laptops or maybe their tablets or even like a larger sized phone or even a smaller sized phone, but larger is probably a little better, to the table. You reveal something, or they point them to a topic and they can go and read that, look at the image, whatever it is on their device. So we're sort of looking at the web not only as our cross-platform solution, but also as our real-time at the table, players bring their own device scenario. Right now, Player Edition, the desktop version for players, like I said, isn't a live feed. We may do that at some point, but not
Needs
yet.
to sync as soon as
Well,
I
right.
save.
That's the thing is this the sync would the sync may take some time. Right. So we're looking at the web as being the
I'm just saying, if,
Right.
with some of your content, you know, you're talking about it at the table, I hit save, before I've even finished my conversation, you could look at it.
Sure, yeah. But we're trying to push it as much as possible to be like a real time thing where the GM says, and now you enter the town, and the GM can say, put the picture of the town or the topic of the town in the player view, and the players would, within a second or two, get that on their device, and they can look at it and click on links and do all those sorts of cool things. There was a question earlier about the free version, the web, is it going to be free or etc. And I sort of alluded to there's going to be a free version and a licensed version. The free player web access is going to be that sort of live at the table scenario where the GM is going to be able to put a number of things, like mark them as active. So this topic and this picture and this map, and free players at the table would be able to browse just those couple active things that the GM has marked as active, and the GM can swap those out at the table. So, okay, this NPC is no longer active, now this NPC is active. So a free player would be able to see everything the GM wants to present at the table without having to buy a license. If a player wants to be able to follow links to other topics, to go browse the history of some ancient kingdom and whatever else is all the full access to your realm, that would involve a license on the web.
Is it the same license as the player license?
Yeah, it's gonna basically, like when I said when you buy Realmworks GM Edition, you're basically buying a Realmworks GM license. That's going to give you Realmworks GM access both on the desktop and the web application. So whatever we say is available on the web application to people with the GM account, which will be everything, I think, you'll have access to. If you've only got a player account, but you do actually have like a paid player account, you'll have full access to the desktop player edition if you want to use it, as well as the full player access on the web. If all you have is the free player account, then you have the limited player access on the web.
Okay. Sorry, another question about
Sure.
the synchronization between your own computer
Okay.
and the web. Say you update something on the web. Is that going to be like you just updated it on another device, now you need to sync that, and then sync it down to your computer? Or how's the synchronization between your computer and updating on the web going to work?
Got it. Okay. So the web has basically a live connection to the server. Whatever the server says is your realm has, the web is going to reflect. So if you've got local changes on, say, the desktop version of Realmworks that you haven't synced up yet, the web won't see that. Once you sync it up, we're going to make this as real time as possible. You may need to refresh the page, but it'll be there. One of the things that we want to do is make it so that the moment the server detects changes, if you've got the web client open anywhere, it's going to automatically push the changes to it. That's going to take a little more engineering effort and may not come out immediately, but that's like a major goal for the web. Over there?
Is there or will there be a way that so HeroLab has the journal tab for players to keep their journal,
Mhm.
to either import it or integrate it or something with the Realmworks content?
Ooh, I feel like somebody asked me that last year. That's a good idea, and I'd like to be able to do that. We don't have a great solution right now for integrating player portfolios. That's something we definitely want to do a better job of at some point in the future, so that the players can sort of curate their own portfolios and have a place to upload them, and they are the ones who manage their own portfolio and maybe their own character entry in the realm. But that's not something that we have yet, but definitely on our radar. Right there in the middle.
Is there going to be a print option or a PDF options anytime soon? You know.
Don't have any release date for that. It's something that's definitely on our radar. A number of users have indicated that it's very important to them. I believe we recently did a user survey of all sorts of things like calendars, printing, etc., etc. Lots of different features that people want. Printing was important to some people and totally unimportant to some other people. So it's sort of middle of the road in terms of where you all want us to do it. Some people are like, yeah, we need printing, and some people are like, this is all electronic, why do we need to print? So it's definitely something that's still on our radar, but we don't have any projected date.
Okay, because it'd be kind of cool if you could take your player view and make your own PDF page, and you could hand it either as handouts or create your own Munster manual or whatever if you wanted to off of it.
Sure, yeah. That's definitely something you could do. And one of the things that we may end up doing is leveraging the web for some of the printing, at least at first, because it's very easy to, let's say we've got our topic here. I've got Freeport. You can actually do a print to PDF from Chrome, I believe.
Yep, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, so I haven't done any work on this, so it doesn't look like it's perfect at the moment. But
Yeah, but still, that's pretty good. I think for most of the folks that have a print problem, you just
Yeah, I mean, that would work perfectly. Cause like I said, I mainly wanted something where you have the players you could like make, like I said, your own lunch manual if you wanted to or whatnot.
You get the handout guy who comes to the table without a laptop, and here's
Yeah,
your
'cause
handout.
I have a lot of friends that don't have.
So that'll need some
that are in
work.
my table group that doesn't have a iPad or any of that stuff.
Yeah, right.
But you'd have to do that. You want to do that for the play when you're
Yeah,
logged in as
here's
a
your
player,
handout.
not a
Yeah.
GM. Otherwise, they get all the GM notes too.
yeah, well,
That's why I
it's
meant, like the player, like a player using like the player view to use.
yes.
The GM can view the player view.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't have the player mode working on the web yet, but there is a like GM enter player mode, see what the players see kind of thing. Yeah, any sort of printing solution would have like a print the GM version or the player version, depending on
That
what's
would
going
work.
on.
Like I said, would work perfectly.
So I got the dreaded question. Do you have any vague guesstimate of when this stuff might start coming out? And I'm giving you as much leeway. This could be wrong, and
Yeah. Okay.
This is
So
not a firm date.
we definitely don't have anything official. The two major things we're working on right now are content market and the web application, because that gives us all the pieces that we need to make RealmWorks really successful.
contact market and what?
With the web application, because that gives us the cross-platform and also the live at the table experience, more so than just the second screen thing, but like the bring your own device, players can interact with it on their own device experience, which is what a lot of people have asked for. So like I said, it's those are the two major things that we're working on. Like there aren't other big projects in the way of those things. We are hoping to have some portion of that out by the end of the year. That may not happen, or maybe both of them will be out by the end of the year if we're being optimistic. But we don't have anything official to say about it. That's just when that's when we'd like to, but software development is always the game of, what roadblocks do you end up hitting that cause your optimistic estimates to not be realistic. So that's the best answer I've got to that, unfortunately.
That's all I want.
Okay. Yeah, so it's not like 10 years from now is when we're planning, or like next month. It's mid-future. Not near future, not far future, but like mid-future.
In this view, I can show them stat blocks for characters. They will appear here.
Yeah,
Or
so
some
we've only got just some basic support right now for stat blocks on the web, but it's certainly coming along.
Okay.
So like here's an NPC, you've got some of his tags, his portrait, and then we've got his Hero Lab portfolio here, and I can click on this, thank you, and pull open a quick view of his. Now this isn't the final version. This is like the quickest thing that we had to throw together. I think this is the default Hero Lab output for HTML for a portfolio. So it may not look exactly like that, but you'll have access to their stats as well through the web app. Also, let me switch realms really quick here, just to show some other stuff we're doing on the web. So plots are coming to the web. Got the little plot diagrams. Right now, these are being randomly generated, so they're not all that interesting of plots. But
Are they randomly generated every time you come to the page, or is it?
Every time I start up the fake local server that I'm running, it'll randomly generate new plots. But yeah, if I refresh this page, it's going to be the same plot. Yeah. So, but yeah, so this works on touch devices as well. I can navigate to this. Let's say this was an encounter. Click that. Read about this encounter. Get the smart image. Reveal whatever I need to. Follow this pin to whatever that is. So we're really looking to bring the full functionality of RealmWorks to the web. It's not going to be like a gimped version or something like that. I know some people were worried about that, like, are you sure? A web app? I don't know. But hopefully...
It's really impressive what you do with web.
Yeah, it's... and really, only the past couple of years has this kind of stuff really been possible. like back when RealmWorks was started, some people have asked us like, why didn't you just do it on the web in the first place? Like, well, 5 years ago when it started, you wouldn't have wanted us to. It would have been terrible. But like, things like filtering on tags, that's going to be, here we'll get, all our injured males for whatever reason. Filter on that, toggle that on and off. So
as the GM, you would have to do twice the work, like on the website and
on the desktop side, no.
Okay,
So basically, if you want to use the web, your realm needs to be in the cloud. If you want to do your realm offline on the desktop, there's no way the web can get at it.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So if you use the cloud syncing, whatever you create on the desktop, you will sync up to our cloud server, your realm, and then that realm will be available on the web. So you won't need to do twice the work. It's basically accessing the exact same data. Over there?
Is there any timeline functionality?
Sorry?
Is there any timeline functionality?
Oh, timeline functionality. Okay. There is. You may have seen the little timeline button up here. Right now, that's really.
I can't actually read that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess it's pretty small. Since we don't currently have calendars public, the timeline functionality is kind of but timelines is something that we definitely have in the works. It's like working internally. It's just a matter of getting all the calendar stuff ready for consumers, because it's kind of rough around the edges.
It's got programmer interface poisoning.
It's got programmer interface poisoning, exactly. So this will let you do calendars from different settings, different fictions and things like that, where you can have events or encounters that are dated, or historical events that are dated, and then based on whatever crazy calendar that that fiction uses, and we'll be able to give you a timeline of those events in order chronologically for the setting. Is that your question? Is that what you're asking about? Okay.
You
That is
overlap
coming.
like timelines, like this AD to this base. This AD is actually also this.
Yes.
this.
So that's part of where it gets really crazy, and where like a lot of people are going to be like, dude, I just want a basic calendar and that's it. And then other people are going to want, like they changed calendars in this year from the imperial
Or this
calendar to
nation
the
uses
republic
this
calendar.
date system, and this nation uses this.
Yes. So that's called calendar projection, and it is something that the calendar system supports, which is why the UI is so hairy right now. But you can, because a lot of times a calendar will end when an empire falls, and some other empire is taking over, and they've got their calendar stretching back to a different date, and mapping between like this empire says it's this day, this empire says it's this other day and this other month in their calendar, but it's really the same event on the at the same point in time. So we do support that kind of complicated mapping if you like want to make a campaign that's about that sort of stuff. But also, because RealmWorks is how you want to do it, you can totally ignore that crap if you don't want to deal with it. So hopefully that answers that question. Any other questions here in the front?
How well are some of the other content players playing with you?
So publishers and such.
Yes. Because obviously one of the big values of many of us have as GM is going to be in that
The content market.
materials.
Yeah, what's available.
Yeah, do I have to rewrite work? Do I have to rewrite?
Yeah.
Or do I just can I take these from different?
So it's a bit of a mixed bag right now. We've got a number of things that you guys probably saw on our Kickstarter, different publishers, Razor Coast, Pirates Guide to Freeport, things like that. Those are already available. We've got some talks going on with Paizo. We've been doing that for a number of years now. We're getting really close to coming to an agreement that we hope we can like pen a contract. There isn't anything official about that yet, though. And that would be for their rulebook content as well as their adventure path content and adventures and things like that. We're in general agreement that like they think it's a good thing for them. Like they see this as a way for them to expand their business. We obviously see it as a good thing for us. It's just a matter of getting the numbers and the lawyers to agree. And I don't have anything to announce about that. Just that we're talking with them at the convention. And hoping to have an agreement soon, but there's always the possibility that the lawyers say no go and things just don't go through.
What about you? Either about Wizards? editions? Or?
Yeah. So we're also in open negotiations with Wizards. We don't.
Do it as 5th edition.
Yeah, exactly. Fifth edition. We don't have anything to announce on that front either. The good news on that front is that at least for the rules content, like the system content, spells, feats, all that sort of stuff, they have said that they're planning on doing an OGL. So when they do that, because they're sort of dragging their feet on it, even if we don't have an agreement with them, we'd at least be able to supply the OGL content once they release that. We're hoping for a real license, so we can do not only their OGL rules content, but also like they've got like special names for their spells, like I forget what their IP, different spells, different characters and things like that.
More kind of faithful watchhound.
Exactly, all those things are protected.
Big BOB backcast.
Exactly, those things wouldn't be part of the OGL, so we'd call it like whatever forceful grasping hand or whatever the OGL is going to call it.
As
Versus
it happens with the website for rules on Pathfinder that has all the names wrong.
Yeah, that's the same sort of thing. But really what we want to be able to do is the adventure content, and that'll actually require a license. Like there's no OGL version of Adventures. So, like they've got their Horde of the Dragon Queen and all those other things they're coming out with. So that's...
I know we're talking Realmworks, but is Hero Labs talking 5th edition already?
It's not a product level negotiation, it's a company level negotiation. So, it may end up being product level. They may say like yes to Realmworks, no to Hero Lab, or maybe no to Realmworks and yes to Hero Lab. But we're engaging them for both because we want to do 5th edition in Realmworks and Hero Lab, both. Hero Lab, if all we got was the OGL, Hero Lab would be able to have basically everything it needs to be functional for 5th edition. Realmworks would have the rules but not the adventures, which would be unfortunate but still workable. So that's kind of where that stands. And like I said, just to make it very clear, there's no, we don't have a license with either Paizo or Wizards yet. We're definitely working on it, and we'll definitely announce anything on our website, newsletter, etc. if anything goes through.
Just seeing how they're playing with it.
Yeah, so it's sort of, like I said, sort of a mixed bag. It isn't like, oh, it's amazing, everybody's going nuts, and it's not like total shutdown. Nobody, everybody said no. It's sort of like still in the middle. Over there?
In light of that, knowing that we don't have the license for it yet, especially for Realmworks, what would be Global's stance on, so you got Realmworks fully out, you got the player edition out, you got the web version out, you got the content market, and someone is like, this is the Pathfinder, Rise of the Moonlords, adventure path, which is like, would that be something like, we don't want to torpedo our negotiations with Paizo, so maybe we don't let you publish that?
So that's a complicated question that I'm going to do my best to answer.
Sure. Yeah,
I'm on the development side as opposed to like the business and licensing side, so take this with a grain of salt. My best understanding is that we want to make it so that you would be able to publish private packages to like yourself and your friends. That would be a limited scope. You wouldn't be able to like publish it to everybody. So like if you did all the work putting in adventure paths or rules, because we're probably not going to get every game system that has ever existed. So we want to have some way for you to make all the work that you put into getting those things in usable, even if the main publisher is like, no, you can't publish that publicly. Now, there may be some things about if it's done for free or it's done under the OGL. Like if you put all the work into putting in a game system that's got an OGL or some kind of similar open license, and you just want to make it available to people, that would probably be okay. If it was a game system that didn't have an open license and the publisher, like we tried to get something with the publisher and they said no, we probably wouldn't be able to let you make it available publicly, even if it was for free, because they would probably see that as like cutting into their profits, and we would probably get like a cease and desist or a DMCA kind of thing, and that's bad for everybody. So it's kind of a shaky answer to your question. Hopefully that gets it out there. Yeah. We really want to make the private sharing possible though, so that if you do all the work, you can at least use it with you and your group of friends and whoever's gaming with you. But there are probably going to be some public limitations. The back?
With the Hero Lab, I noticed that you linked on the web view and it pulled up a specific character. A lot of times I keep like entire cities worth of NPCs in one Hero Lab portfolio.
Oh.
Can I actually specify a specific character when I link that? Or does it just open the entire portfolio?
Right now, it just opens the entire portfolio. There's a possibility that we could do that, like specify if you want to open the entire portfolio or just one character in that portfolio. It doesn't currently do that, but we own both products, so it's certainly possible.
There's also a way to, it's a workaround for you right now. There is a way you can go into that portfolio and export that character and that character alone.
Yeah, and I mean, I've done that before.
Right. But if you want to organize, like, okay, everybody in this town is in this portfolio, everybody in this town is in this other one. Yeah. There may be a way that we could do that. I don't think it would work right now, though. So that would be something to ask about on the forums, and specifically there's a feature request forum.
Okay.
I would post it there because that lets other people say oh yeah, that's great, I do that too. It's sort of like a way to crowd vote, if we get a lot of people saying, yeah, this is a good idea, because unfortunately you may be the only person who does it that way, in which case we may not do it, but it's a good way to see is there interest in this idea. Because one of the things people may not realize is that we're a very small team, so we have to really prioritize what we work on to hit what most people will need. So it may be that everybody loves your idea and wants us to do it, in which case it gets bumped up. Any other questions? We've got about 2 minutes. Is there somebody waiting outside probably? Okay, so we got last minute questions. Sure.
I actually do GM rewards for people who run games that I coordinate. And is there a way I can buy a license to Realmworks and print it out and give it to them and say, hey, you now have a license to Realmworks, they can enter it and create and get their own GM license?
Yeah, I mean, here at the con, we actually, when you buy a license, you just get a license card. You could use those. If you stop by the booth, Liz will be there. She's our business manager. Or we can at least give you her business card. And if you want to be able to buy licenses to give as prizes, or I know there's some prize support stuff she does for some companies. I don't know if she's the business person, not me. So I know that's technically possible, and it would just be a matter of getting in contact to her and find out what you want to do.
Thank you.
All right, well, with 1 minute left, I'm gonna start packing up. I can answer questions on our way out, but we don't want to be rude to the next people. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks for watching our Gen Con 2015 seminar, Realmworks 101, Streamlined Campaign Management for GMs and Players. Be sure to explore the other videos on our channel, and make sure to check out Realmworks on our website, www.getrealmworks.com.